Hey, this is Utter Oopsman, and great copy makes you millions. Right now, I'm going to go into something which I've talked a little bit about before, and I really feel as though this cannot get enough attention. And that's really profiling who your prospects, who your customers are, and your customer profile. And in my hands, I have something called the McKay 66. And you can get this free online if you just Google search McKay 66. Then you can get this. I pulled this right off of Google. This is free online, so I've got no challenges sharing this with you. So what the McKay 66 is from is Harvey McKay wrote a book, Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. It was a New York Times bestseller, great book, and in it one of the things he gave away was his customer profile. Now this is a guy who took a an envelope business, a business that sells envelopes, and built it up to, I believe he's doing like $100 million a year now, or $150 million a year, something insanely ridiculous like that. It's just like what? Really? You know, amazing numbers. Anyways, this is what he uses in his business with each of his salespeople, and you know, great copy comes from great understanding of who your prospect is. So I'm going to take you through just a few of the points here, and you can grab this online when you Google search McKay 66. But I'm really going to go into some of the value of this for you in making more money, because the more you know about your prospects, the people you do business with, your clients, customers, the more easy it is to get them to give you more money. So, name, well, obviously you need to know their name, company name, address, telephone, birth date. When were they born? Do you know what their birth date is? Do you ever send them things on their birthday? Height, approximate weight, education, high school, college. Did they go to college? Do they have, you know, how many years of college? Do they have a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, a doctorate? What do you know about their college education? Were they on honors? Were they in any fraternities or sororities? Any sports that they did? Any extracurricular activities? You know, what other things did they do in college? Useful things to know, background on them. Where do they come from? What's their hometown? Especially when working with older clientele, generally, you know, there's a certain level of a hometownness, like where did you grow up, where are you from, you know, that type of connectivity works really well with older you know, older prospects, because well, frankly, you know, pre-internet, it was more about the hometown, you know, connection that people have from small hometowns. And there's a lot of people who grew up in small hometowns, myself being one of them. I grew up in Ellsworth, Maine. Actually, I grew up outside of Ellsworth, Maine, in a place called Township 8, which was an unorganized territory in Maine that was a 2-mile or 3-mile strip, you know, between Ellsworth and Waltham, Maine, that was just unorganized. They call it Fletcher's Landing for the locals. And I mean, I grew up super small area where everybody knew everybody, and that was just kind of how life was. So that, you know, older prospects tend to care about where you grew up. I've found that in my experience, and you may be able to find that in your own experience as well. Did they go to the military? Were they in the military? If so, which branch? What was their discharge rank? Are they still in the military? Important things to know. What was their attitude towards being in the service? Family. What's their spouse's name and occupation? Do they have a spouse? Spouse's education, spouse's interests. When is their anniversary? You know, I've got a friend of mine, Larry Benet. He calls himself the Connector. He finds out the anniversary of every person he does business with and sends them a card a week before their anniversary. And he's had his clients call him up and say, "Larry, you saved my ass. I forgot about the anniversary of my wife, and it's next week. Your card saved me. Thank you, man. I appreciate it." That stuff gets business. I'm telling you. Children. How many children do they have? What are their names? What are their ages? What are their children's education levels? What's their previous employment like for themselves? Are there any status symbols in their office? What's their profession or their trade? What other offices have they held? What other honors have they been awarded? What business relationship does this person have with others in our company? Is there more of a connection besides just business? Who are they? Is it a good relationship? Why? Those are all really important questions to ask. And I know I'm talking super fast here. You can find this all online when you Google search McKay66. But in your business, the way you can apply this is the more you understand about people, the more it lets you know what are some of their hot buttons, what are their motivations, why do they make specific decisions the way they make the decisions. Really important things to know when you're writing copy, when you're creating sales communications, when you're making videos, when you're talking with people on the phone. Every word you speak is copy coming out of your mouth. I'm speaking copy right now, even though this is 100% unscripted. Because what we are doing is I'm making a connection with you, although I'm talking very rapidly and may not be making that connection super well. I would get it a lot better if I talked quite a bit slower, but that might not be as rewarding for you on the education standpoint as far as how I can show you how to make money if I droned on and on at a very slow clip, because that I have so much to give you, it's not that easy to say it in short periods of time, so I've got to speak faster. So moving on, what is his or her? What do you feel his or her immediate business objective is? Really important, very, very important. What do you think is of greatest concern to the customer at this time? Is it the welfare of their company or their own personal welfare? Really important stuff. What do you feel his or her long-range business objective is? I mean, you've got the immediate business objectives. You've got, their long-range business objectives. You've got where they're at right now. Are they more company-focused, more themselves-focused? Important stuff to know, especially when you're communicating with them. I'll give you a great example on that. I can think of a guy that I've done, I've talked about doing some business with. Haven't quite done a deal with him yet, but this is a guy who is more focused right now. Not so much on business, but more focused on, he got divorced about a year ago. He's more having, fun playing the field. And for me to connect with him on business, I need to connect with him first on where he's at in his headspace as far as connecting and creating new relationships. To be able to connect with him on the business level, I got to talk to him about women first to be able to then talk about business. Because he just doesn't really want to talk business right now because he's so focused on his dating life. And that's something that needs to be addressed when you're speaking with people, especially if you're doing it individualization of your clients. If you're doing it more of a broad mass market, then that stuff isn't as necessary, but it's still very important to know as much of this about your clients as possible. Do they think more of the present, like right now, today, or the future? Are they active in the community? Are they part of any clubs or fraternal associations right now? What's their religion? Are they very active? Are they very into their religion? What are some highly confidential areas not to be discussed with the customer, like testy points? medical conditions, what's their level of health, favorite places to eat, favorite items on the menu. This can go on and on, but you get the point. The more you know about your customer, the more money you will make because the easier it is to make a sale and the better the bond and connection becomes. Make it a